Hi there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video, myself and my good friend Nick from One Kenobi are going to be going through our top 5 Star Wars The Vintage Collection figures from Episode 4, A New Hope. So before we just get into that, I just want to say a big welcome to Nick, my good buddy of, what are we saying now, 3 or 4 years on YouTube together? Like, obviously our channels are been going roughly about the same time.
Yeah, we started at the same sort of time, 2017, about a month out or something. But then I can't remember when we actually started to talk. It was definitely 2018 at some point. But yeah, man. So getting on to 5 years.
Yeah. So
Good
as
stuff,
I said,
man.
like
a lot in common, a lot of interests shared in and out of Star Wars.
Yeah, we share the love for the vintage collection, and this is both what we collect and this is what we talk about most of the week. So I thought it'd be a good idea to start a mini series. So this is the beginning of a mini series called Only One Bossk. And I've got Nick to thank for that name. So I approached Nick basically to do a series with me, a mini series where we're going to be doing our top 5 vintage collection figures from each of the shows or films. So essentially we're starting off with A New Hope. Next week we'll be doing The Empire Strikes Back and so on. So without further ado, should we just get on with it, Nick? And
yeah, absolutely.
Talk about... So what we're
and
we
haven't pre-discussed anything, have we, Tim? Just to confirm that, because I can't wait to hear what you say here. I'm desperate for this to happen, this show, because we haven't discussed anything. It's all been a secret.
No, I've just told you to come up with your top 5 and your one worst, and then we're going to be going alternate. So I'm going to ask you to go first in a second. So that's basically how it's going to work. Yeah, and basically watching your channel over the years, I've seen your top 5 videos and what have you. So I've kind of got a good idea about which direction you go in, or have I? I could be completely surprised. So at the end of the day, that's why I wanted to do it. I can't think of a better person that I'd like to do this with.
Oh,
so
thanks for asking, man. Awesome, man. I love the idea. And also, what order are we doing it in? Like, what are we revealing? Our least favorite, first favorite, or does it not really matter?
No, we're going from 5 down to your number 1 favorite, and then at the end we'll end up on a negative on your worst one. So these are your absolute top 5. And also, just so the audience know, that we are going to be ranking these on figure and card back. So it's the aesthetics of the card back and the figure. So it could be an amazing figure, but a not so great card back. And that's why it gets into our top 5, or it could be the opposite. It could be, a glorious card back that just graces the vintage collection, but the figure's not so great. So, or it could be, the top one could be the best of both worlds. So that's how we're going to be ranking it. So Nick, would you like to do the honors and start us off?
Oh man, really difficult. This is hard going first, man. I think I'll go with this one first. I mean, it would be so rude not to choose this. This has got to go in my top 5 because I wanted it for so long. I started my channel on wanting this card back. They gave it to us, and to be honest with you, even though it does still irk me a little bit that this is a dirty R2 and not a clean one, it still looks good. It really pops in the packaging and all that. It's a really kind of, I don't know, it's a crisp R2, and maybe the weathering actually does highlight the colors and stuff. The classic blue and white, and also, what else was I going to say about it? God, what was I going to say? It's just like a classic I've always wanted. Looks really good, and yeah, that's it. I lost my train of thought there, Tim. To be honest, I think we should said it all.
It is a classic, and the thing is, I do want to comment on your choices, but at the same time, I don't, because I don't want to sort of give away if potentially it's in my choices later on down the line or whatever.
Of course.
But, I'll just go to say that it is an absolute classic, the R2-D2 card back.
But that's probably why I'd put it. Maybe I was going to say I put it at 5th only because of the fact that, say, it's not perfect because of the figure aspect. But still, I'm not saying it's completely negative because it does have its positives, the figure. But it could be amazing if it was that classic thick cardstock and the figure was just,
I think we were both the same when that one originally got revealed, weren't we? And I think we saw the pictures of the figures before we saw the card back for it, I think, if memory serves me right. And we saw this dirty R2, and it's like, is that a Dagobah R2, or is that, what is that? Because it, on the sort of glam images, it looked a bit Dagobah, if that's a word.
Dagobah. I love that.
But I think you could go with it two ways. You could go with it that he was a bit oily and what have you before the trench run, and then also he got shot and whatever, and he was in a terrible state after the trench run. So either works. But I thought like you, because of the original R2D2 was that clean white as you like R2D2. I felt when that card back got released, we needed that really, and I recarded one. I think you might have done as well.
I did,
with just a plain R2D2. Do you know what I mean?
It was that Black
just
Series
to have
one,
that,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool, man. Cool. That's a good choice. Good choice. Right. I'm going to go with, in 5th place.
Gonna have to try a poker face now, by the way, whatever you reveal. It's hard, this.
I've gone with this.
Wow. Do you know something? Before I was looking at my wall before and I thought, do you know what? Anyway, I bet you would pick that.
So it's in 5th place because, let's be frank about it. The figure isn't great. It's okay, but it's not brilliant. And also it's just of like a female figure just standing there in a posh dress. So essentially the reason that this one's in the line for me is I just love this card back and always have when we first got it. They could have chosen a slightly different image where she does that sort of cheeky smile. Do you know what I mean? The bit there, they could have done that, but I think this one still works. It's a brilliant card back, this one. And also you've got the extra added bonus of they messed up with the numbering on this one, so there's a variant flying around. And I know you like your variants. So
that facial sculpt though, she does look scary, doesn't she, man? Like,
yeah, I think this is one of the occasions where they did make it better than the 3.75-inch Black Series version.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's still not a great figure, is it? But the card back, man. And for me as well, it's one that wasn't in the N96, so a Star Wars card of a character that wasn't released back in the day. That does it for me. So 5th place for me, that one.
Beautiful image, and the dance like better than the other two Yavins, I've got to say. And speaking of figures that were not in the 96, the original one, then this would be my next choice. That's a nice prelude, that, Tim, into this. I chose this one in my top 5, definitely. We got a set of 5 or 4 figures, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Of these.
Well, three and what's his name?
Yeah, I mean, loose. I mean, I know he's got his faults, the figure. He doesn't have the ball jointed hips and all that, but I love the figure. There's such character in his face, and I love these guys. They're just the first thing you see in A New Hope. The car back is the image on the car back I've always liked as well. It's not perfect, the photograph, but that's what I like about it. It's got that sort of like screenshot zap capture from the film, action. So that's a brilliant, well-produced, executed card back and figure, I think, for vintage collection. And the colors as well, just absolutely spot on. With the silver works with his kind of light blue undergarment there, and the the vest thing like Han. That's brilliant. Classic Star Wars, man.
Yeah, that blue, the fact he's on a blue name pill works for that big time.
Yeah, it's brilliant, man. What is he again?
So you picked 2 blue 52. Already.
Two blue.
2 blue.
Yeah,
R2,
it wasn't intentional to get them back to back. It was just you led me into that one. I haven't really thought about the order massively of this, but anyway, moving on.
Right. Okay. So I've gone for VC 169, Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper outfit. And a couple of reasons I've gone for this one. One is the figure's brilliant. I absolutely love the figure. I think the helmet fits great over the head. They could learn a lot of that for the clone troopers. It's just a great figure, and the car back image is a replica of the original one that we got in the Power of the Force. And that Luke Skywalker that was released in the Power of the Force was probably one of my favorite figures from growing up, playing with as a kid. So I had to get Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper outfit into my top 5. And of course, because he's a Stormtrooper, he's on the red, as always. Nice. So
a great figure as well. I Army built a couple of them. I used them as Stormtroopers as well, which is really good. Before, obviously, now we've got plenty of other choices for that.
Cheap as chips, that one as well, on the secondary market. They're everywhere. You can get those nice and easy.
Brilliant. And speaking of Stormtroopers, I might get this guy in now. Let's bring it in. fantastic figure, as we know. Although, to be honest with you, Tim, I'm going to be dead honest. I still haven't got this one loose. I'm sort of judging how good the figure is based on all the other kind of variants. We've got the Stormtrooper, like the Han one, the Luke you just had there, which is great, and the previous Rogue One one. So I'm guessing it's a good figure. Still haven't opened them up, which is mad, really. But the fact that they've done this now is just such a weight off my mind. You know, what is it now? He's here. I did bring him with me. The Stormtrooper. What is he called? George Lucas. That's the only thing we had with the Stormtrooper, on a New Hope card.
Yeah.
This was just like a weight off my mind when they finally did that. But
it's been a long time coming, isn't it?
Oh yeah, man. But it's brilliant.
Yeah. And for all the people in the US, they make him a Walmart exclusive, which is just mind blowing why they did that. But so what are we up to now? Is that have you done 3 now? Have you?
That's 3, yeah.
3. Okay, so I'll move on to my third one now. Okay, so similar to your pick there, I've gone for VC 112, the Sand Trooper. And obviously, as we're getting through these, it's interesting to see how close we are, like in terms of, I mean, so far, obviously we'll have to see at the end because we don't want to give anything away, but about how close we are. But so far we are quite different, which is interesting.
We haven't clashed yet.
No. So VC 112, this for me is I mean, obviously the figure's great. I mean, that Stormtrooper you've just shown there, if they gave us a new Sand Trooper using that.
Yeah.
But this is the card back for this.
Oh yeah.
I love this card back, man. This is look at him there with his orange pauldron. It's just a great card back. And this one, tough to get. This one now, it's well expensive.
Now it was tough to get in 2017. My God, it cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't think they'll release this one again because of the fact that we got that new. Why would they go back to this old thingy? And the last time they updated it, they changed the card back, didn't they? So maybe they'll do that again. But
third time lucky, maybe, hopefully. What you call it now, Mos Eisley image would be great if they did the 3rd generation, should we say, of the Sands Trooper. That would be awesome. Well, Timothy, are you done with your one there?
I'm done with it. I'm enjoying it.
Well,
it's good.
This is me now, and it's quite funny. This is where we do not clash.
Hey!
But this was definitely. Do you remember when I sent you the voice note before, and I said, I'm trying to choose me 5, and then I forgot this is the what. But when you had the idea for the show, this is the card back that hit me first in my head. I thought I've got to have this in my top 5, and I forgot to get it off my wall. But notice, Tim, mine is unpunched. Yours,
I saw. You know what? I had this in a video the other week, and I thought, man, mine's punched. No,
get that sorted. Yeah, but this cost a lot of money. This is 2017. This is one of the last figures I got. And it was one of those ones where, you hit buy it now as opposed to waiting for one in auction. You just want to finish it off. But like you said, the figure, it needs updating. But because this figure in itself is an update of the other one, and it's way better, the weathering and all that, it's still a good figure. These do work nicely. I've got a couple in my Rogue One display. But and as you say, the image is so New Hope. The previous one was very special edition. It was that kind of CGI trooper, definitely. But that's the pure photograph of the set, so
I'm exactly like you. I use them I have them next to my tank.
Oh, they look great
in my display. And I think what lets it down now compared to the new one is the helmet. That's it, really. The figure, I mean, obviously the articulation on the figure's been improved, but it's the old style helmet that's just not quite there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but as you might remember, I did a video.
Do too much to that figure, so.
Well, exactly. I did a video a while ago. I got a Remnant Trooper, Stormtrooper from the Mandalorian, and I put a few of the accessories from this guy on it, and it just sort of like whets your appetite for what they could do for a definitive Sand Trooper. And I really do hope they do that, man, soon. It's not going to take a lot of effort to do that.
So this is making me think, what's your number 1 now? Because that is I thought that possibly would have been your number 1. So on to my number 2. And I've gone for this one's unpunched. I've gone for R5D4. And the reason I've gone for this one is because this possibly is one of my favorite card backs throughout the whole 96 figures. I love droids in Star Wars. R5D4 is always a weird character, isn't he? He's that crappy droid that blew up at the start. It's like such a small role, but that card, look at the image on that card back,
Yeah.
man. That is Star Wars for me. And I've even got one of these as a vintage figure.
Wow, that'd be
like,
nice.
you know, like
Next to
like carded, you know.
Yeah.
So this is, but it doesn't quite make my number one. So I'm feeling, if you haven't had this yet in your top 5, I'm wondering if this is your number one. So
I love the way this has been a great stream, Tim. I've enjoyed this a lot. But the thing is, I had no clear path on what to make number one. To be honest, if I'd opened this could have been my number one if I thought it was amazing enough. But I don't reckon it could be or would be. But this could have been my number one, like you say. But because it's inferior now to the newer molds and all that. But so madly enough, this is in number one slot. It's mad, isn't it? I just had 5 figures I chose, and I had no idea what order they would fall in, but this is the way it's broken down. But I do like this card back a lot. And the figure is great. It's, it's faultless in terms of the fact that it's got the right amount of weathering, and it looks like the droid that you saw in the film, but you can't beat the image. You got Jawas in there, you got the droid, and you've got Luke Skywalker as well. So you're getting treated with the image there. Can you see Owen as well? No. You can see the Sandcrawler. So you underestimate how great this card back is. So that is my number one, and it is unpunched as well, like yours, Tim.
Do you have the figure loose?
I do have a figure loose, which is it. I got it in a job lot a while ago. I think it must have come from somewhere. Maybe this is a repack of a
because I don't have this one loose, and some people, I don't know why. I'll have to read up why. But some people aren't too happy with the figure. I don't know whether it's the scale or what. But
right,
it looks pretty good. Looks good enough to me. It looks who it's like it's supposed to be. So
I mean, I do consider having it loose, but because it is exactly the same mold as that. But whoever it is, it's got a little bit of light damage on it, so it's got a tiny bit of yellowing from sun damage. But that kind of works like this because that's got yellowing from dirt that they put on deliberately. So yeah, man, that's my number one.
So can you guess who my number one is then?
Well, I'm. Well,
I'll give you a clue. It's in your list. It's in your 5.
It's in my 5. Oh wow.
Yeah, it is this.
Yeah.
231 VC 231. And you need to open one of these ASAP, man, because this is the definitive Stormtrooper, and we have waited so long for this. And as I said, for the guys in the US to make this a Walmart exclusive was just
man,
oh my god! But this has got so many good things going for it, right? It's on the thicker cardstock. The Stormtrooper image is one of the classic images on for a Kenner card back, and the figure is just amazing. It's got the rocker ankles now. The only thing it's missing now is those new hips that all these Mandalorians are using, which are great and everything. But I had no problems posing this guy with the hips that he's got. So this one for me is the definitive Stormtrooper. He's got the holster, which is a working holster. The blaster actually goes in it.
That's good.
The helmet's brilliant. Just everything about it. And like,
I thought you had an issue with something like I'm sure you said you had an issue with the helmet or something in your first review of that.
Yeah, the first one I had, the helmet was a bit yellowy. Yeah,
yellowy,
this one's absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
but I just think with this one, like if you showed somebody that had never even seen Star Wars, maybe I still think they would know what it. I mean, obviously cover the Star Wars, but I think people would know what that is. It's a classic.
It's a beautiful image. Yeah.
And that is my number one for Star Wars in the vintage collection. I mean, I know it's probably the newest one that we've got, which is amazing, really.
The only gripe, it's not unpunched though, isn't it? That's one gripe, and also the fact that these warnings here are not ideal.
I was just about to say it's a shame that they've stopped doing the Euro things.
That's the only one that I have in my 5 that hasn't got it. The only one.
So there you go then. That's our top 5. So how many of your top 5 are in my top 5? So we've got the Stormtrooper, we've got R5D4, we've got the Sand Trooper, but I think that's it, isn't it?
And before we started the show, I was looking in the background, and you said you were trying to cover your Star Wars ones on the wall there, but I could see the Rebel Trooper. I was like, yes, man, he's not got that in there, because I didn't really want us to clash too much. But
No,
I had to get him in.
no.
I love that. I love that. And it's a new one, and it's a good one, that one. I'm glad I've put that in.
And mine's quite trooper heavy as well, which says something as well. I do like, I've got the Stormtrooper, the Sand Trooper, and Luke in Stormtrooper outfit. So and a droid as well. So it's all very Star Wars, that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I've got an honorable mention. I'm not going to mention it now. When you ask me what my least favorite is, I will talk about my honorable mention as well, which is maybe giving away what mine is, but still, I'll show you in a minute.
Okay,
it was in your list.
Yeah. Do you want? Shall we move on? Shall we move on to the worst? I mean,
yeah,
it's a negative thing, isn't it? But there's always negatives in anything, and at the end of the day, some of them have been pretty poor. So
yeah. Well,
I think I know what you're going to go for.
Oh, really? Well, I want to tip my hat firstly to the Sand Trooper. I nearly brought him down here. You know, the new one with the 50th logo one, but that's why I didn't choose him, because the 50th logo wrecks it. But the figure's really good for that. I love that. And I just want to mention, this isn't my worst, but I want to mention him. I'd nearly put him in my top 5, but I thought, well, I've got so many other troopers, I left him out. But
yeah,
it's such a good figure. Lovely image. But the image you get for him that is amazing makes up for the crap that one there is my least favorite, because I love the figure, and you can use that as an army building Stormtrooper as well. But I'm sorry, the image of that just annoys me so much. I have to put that in my least favorite.
It's a weird image, that, isn't it? It's almost been
absolutely.
I don't know what
whoever
they've done
decided that it needs.
What do you think they've done to that? Have they like plonked his head on, like photoshopped his head a bit or something? I don't know.
I mean, that could be genuine. Like, they've a very bad feeling about this, and they've probably done that because, you know, I mean, I did say before, I love it when they use real action. Like, this is real action, you know, and it's not the most perfect clear image ever, but there's just so many good images, like of Han, as we've seen him, you know, when he's standing in the cell bay. Like, this is a great image of Mark Hamill. Where was their opportunity they missed to put that brilliant? I wish I could put it on screen. Maybe you can in post-production, Tim. There's one particular photograph of Harrison Ford without the helmet on, which would have made that the ultimate card back.
Yeah, I know the one you mean, and I think people have made customs of it and stuff, haven't they? So so I'm going to bring out my worst one in a minute. But what I should have said at the beginning of the stream was that we want the people that are watching this to reply in the comments below what their top 5 are, and also what their worst one is as well. You know, this toy community is about the community, so we want to hear your thoughts as well. So,
and before you show this, Tim, I'm not going to say it, but I'm glad that if that's not your worst, I think I might be able to guess. I'm not going to. Should I say, or just wait for you? No.
It's not my worst.
I think I know what your worst will be then, if it's not that.
Go on then.
I reckon it's going to be Yavin Luke. It is. Yeah, look at that.
There's a few reasons for it. It's because, like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the head on this one is a lot worse than the Luke.
Oh yeah.
Any of the other Lukes. Like, his hair looks weird. But anyway, couple of reasons really. One, it's a repack from the Black Series. I think his arms are a bit long. You know, the figure's just all right. It's from a very small part in the film, but it's the image, man. Like,
terrible.
Why can't they seem to just, like with that Han Solo one, why can't they seem to get a clear image of this? I think they've said it before, like, oh, our designers had to hunt far and wide for the image or whatever. And you see these customizers, they would have something super clear. This is probably the worst sort of like resolution image going. I mean, the Han Solo one is bad and probably on par actually, but there's just something not right with that at all. And it is a shame because I've got the Leia one, which isn't the most clear image, but that's fine. It works.
Yeah,
it's a shame because we've got Han, we've got Leia from Yavin, but the Luke one just doesn't work for me. And
we had like an influx of really good Lukes. The X-Wing one's really good. The Jedi Knight one's good facial sculpt and hair and everything. Then you've got the Stormtrooper one there. Obviously no Farm Boy yet, but of all those ones, that was the worst of the heads. Quite pasty, isn't it? Not as bad as the Scooby-Doo one, you know, the Death Star escape. He kind of reminds me
Yeah.
of Shaggy or somebody in that one.
It's the
gawky
haircut. I've only
looking.
just noticed it compared to the others. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look right. But that's the one that I think is the worst in the line. But you're right. The Han Solo one is. The difference is this one was quite easy to get. The Han Solo one, I think, was quite tough to get in the end. So.
I wonder what he's worth now. He's probably right up there still. Maybe he's not going to go down in price, is he? Unless they brought out more.
No.
But yeah, I mean that's a great figure. So it's quite shocking, really, that I put that as the worst because it isn't entirely the worst. But I'm sorry. That just annoys me so much. That image.
Look, it was between that and that one, but I just think that figure is on par with the Luke figure. In fact, that's probably the best hand head that we've had. I would say maybe. Trying to think of other ones that we've got.
I was just going to say I very nearly chose the Yavin Luke for fear that you might not. I thought you might have chosen the Stormtrooper ham as well for some reason. But anyway, we got it covered.
Well, I'm going to ask you for that honourable mention in a second as well. But yeah, so it's been fun doing this, man. I like, for a pilot episode, this is good. We know we're going to be going for next time when we do the Empire Strikes Back. I think there may be more Empire than there is Star Wars to choose from. I think, obviously, when we get to Jedi, it'll be it'll be very, very difficult to pick 5 Jedi ones because there's so many. And then when we get onto other, the Mandalorian, there's 20 odd, Clone Wars, things like that. But then some of the others we're gonna have to like group them together into an episode.
Yeah,
what was the honourable mention that you were going to say?
To be honest, I've already mentioned him. It was the Sand Trooper, the Tusken Raider.
Right.
I was going to get him in,
right.
Because I mean, it's a bit like this, isn't it? Really, it's got that classic. It's one of the originals, and and the figure is pretty darn good. Loose, you can't really tell. It's one of those ones that you got to get it out to know what it can do. But he's like the leader of my tribe. If you want to call it that, I've got like a Tusken shelf. Got a load of variety of different Tuskens, and he is the outstanding one in the middle. So
I think a lot of people weren't too happy with the head on that one originally, but I thought it was more accurate to the source material personally. The only problem I had with it is I couldn't move the head on my one, and the hands broke and stuff.
The hands broke. That's been the case for a lot of people, which is very sad, not good. But I was lucky, I suppose. So that's probably why I hold it in higher regard.
Okay, then. So that is our top 5. Best or favorite vintage collection Star Wars cards. We did say that this wouldn't include anything from the original trilogy collection or from the vintage saga collection because we wanted to keep it strictly VC numbered only, like proper vintage collection, and also none of the sort of weird and wonderful things like rocket firing Boba Fett's or anything like that. This is like just VC 01 to VC 250 or whatever at the moment. So I hope everybody that's watching has enjoyed the show. We're going to be doing this every week, as I said, going through all the different Star Wars media. So next week will be the Empire Strikes Back. I just want to say a big thank you to my co-host, Only One Kenobi, Nick. Thank you for joining my friend.
Thank you, Tim, for it was awesome. Loved it, man.
Yeah,
great.
Thank you for doing this collaboration. As I say, we've been going a long time. We've been friends for a long time now, so it's about time we did something like this. So this idea came up to me, and I thought, why not? Let's do it. Yep. So once again, thank you to my buddy Nick. Really appreciate it, mate. And if you haven't subscribed to Nick's channel already, the link to his channel will be in the description below. So make sure you do that. And we shall see you on next week's episode of Only One Bossk, where we'll be going through the Empire Strikes Back card backs, which will be awesome. Can't wait to film that with you, Nick. Thank you for joining me, my friend.
Thank you, man.
And thank you to everybody watching, and we shall see you on the next one.